What? Oh, it's from Rewind. He needs me to host an episode for him. Huh, sure, why not? Let's see what the episode is today. Kingpin vs. Kazuma Kiryu. I swear to God, Rewind, if I see one meme relating to Bakamitai. Anyways, across the world there are good and bad. And as there are good organizations to seek justice, there are the bad ones to control crime. Out there exist criminal organizations in all shapes and sizes, some more powerful than others, and some with the influence to control the very laws that seek to destroy them. How about we explore another tale of East versus West? This time we seek to find the ultimate crime lord. Wilson Fisk Kingpin vs. Kazuma Kiryu, the Dragon of Dojima. A battle between American Mafia and Japanese Yakuza. Only one of them is going to come out alive in this battle, because only one can be the true king of organized crime. But which suit-wearing criminal mastermind is going to become the true boss? The city of New York is where you can either strive greatly or suffer massively, financially. The Big Apple is that of a hierarchy, and that's where we meet Wilson Fisk. As a child, Wilson was born into a poor family, and to further his already poor start, he was bullied by his fellow classmates and even his own father due to his obesity. Which are like, have you met Poe? Snorlax? Chowder? They're all really cool. This bullying and isolation amongst his peers was very hard on him. He had no friends, no parental figure. There wasn't anybody to be there for him. All he really had was himself. Forced to grow up thinking he can't have anyone to rely on. In fact, it was due to the bullying of his big frame that pushed Wilson into using his physical physique to his advantage. His idea was if everyone was going to be a bully, then he would just become the bigger bully. He started by training himself in physical combat. He does this by taking advantage of his to beef himself up beyond any norms. It was this training that helped him gain his peak human strength and physicality, pretty much turning himself into a walking brick. More so a walking tank actually. He used his newfound strength to intimidate his bullies and bully them back, just enough to turn them into his loyal servants right before he became the right-hand man of Don Regoletto. Well damn, he just pulled a mirror force on them and profited. But eventually Wilson looked at Don and said, I want that position. And he killed Don. Talk about short-lived. After his death, Wilson became the head honcho of the operation, and thus began to show his dominance over several other crime syndicates, not just in New York, but all over the world, including the Pirates, the Yakuza, and the Russian Mafia, slowly building his crime empire under the guise of a business company, under the same name that shakes the world of crime itself. The Kingpin. His influence in the world of crime was absolutely massive, so big that his illegal activities would be exposed by many different superheroes, like Spider-Man, the Daredevil, and even Captain America. Yeah, he may have been smart enough to literally become a crime boss capable of influencing the entire world, but his biggest mistake was establishing that mafia in the world of Marvel. And even though he has failed a lot battling them, his battles with them has actually given him feats that are very impressive for a human. As stated earlier, Kingpin through rigorous training has achieved peak human physicality. His sheer has given him so much muscle mass that his strength surpasses that of any normal man. Capable of doing things even the strongest men in the world would break multiple sweats over. I mean, like, look at him. He's a literal brick wall. He has been shown to easily lift up massive desks and sofas to throw them with little to no effort. He's flung open a large vault door with only one hand, as to where some would even struggle to open it with two hands. Kingpin's sheer size often allows him to shield himself from powerful attacks. This is because he has so much to him, and hits he takes are more likely to be absorbed or blunted off rather than actually damaging him. You see, the human body isn't capable of withstanding energy from physical attacks all that well. Even if a normal man were to train themselves to their peak, while they can be tough enough to take damage more often than your average Joe, they still can't fully withstand anything conventionally tough. Alas, Kingpin has so much muscle mass to him that he pretty much has the ability to absorb most physical damage he takes. Most hits he takes can't even make him flinch. It's almost as if he's absorbing the kinetic energy that comes from any physical hit. Heck, he's even strong enough to crush rocks near his own size. Measuring the size of the rocks compared to his arms, we can see that the force required to smash this rock would require over 28 million joules, or 0.006 tons of TNT. Kingpin is also an expert in martial arts. Don't let his size make you think he isn't a skilled fighter, because he has learned techniques that both utilize his size and do things despite his size, which is pretty much an oxymoron. He has shown to be really good at different forms of martial arts, like sumo wrestling, judo, and hapkido. All of this combined has allowed him to duke it out with the likes of Spider-Man himself. After all, Wing can act as a running freight train and bash everything you impact. The moment you mix combat into that, you're just a deadly weapon yourself. Kingpin, especially for his toughness, should not be mistaken for being a slouch at all. He was able to save a kid from getting hit by a speeding car, which should put him around the ballpark of 60 miles per hour. Huh, what do you know? Despite being a dangerous criminal, he has enough heart to save a child. Kingpin is also an incredible genius. He excels at coming up with plans and has many henchmen and scientists working with him. Well, mostly because they fear him. And simply that him having to run a worldwide crime ring means he needs to be able to run it with full efficiency, all while being unable to be topped both physically and intellectually. He is gifted in political science, fluent in many languages, and is incredibly manipulative and clever. He has even tricked the likes of Spider-Man and Captain America before. He also has some incredible willpower, as he has been shown to resist the psychic powers from Zebediah Killgrave, aka the Purple Man. Now Rewind, I know what you're thinking. Do not make the joke. Resist the urge! Okay, good. Kingpin also carries a handy dandy walking stick, which is outfitted with a concealed laser beam inside of it, which is capable of vaporizing a handgun. Truly the staple of a mafia boss. The stick can also fire sleeping gas to knock out his opponents. He can also use the stick as a means of combat, obviously. Although it's merely optional because he can literally weaponize the entire environment around him with his strength alone. Now Kingpin doesn't have many notable weaknesses. One massive weakness he does have that most humans have is that underneath all that toughness is still human flesh. Again, his sheer size does allow him to tank more damage than a regular human can. Despite that, he has been defeated many times by the likes of Spider-Man, Captain America, and even the Punisher was able to kill him with his usual arsenal. So while he clearly has the size to resist what would kill a normal human, it's still pretty hard to believe that he can actually contend with other Marvel heavy hitters. Despite that, it's pretty obvious that Wilson's not one to be messed with. So be careful of what you do. Involve yourself with crime and he will know you. And if you slip up even once, the Kingpin will make sure that you are taken care of. Japan is simply a gorgeous country with all kinds of cultures, people, myths, stories, and well, even their own crime circles. Now why was that a part of the gorgeous category? Well, we all need a good to balance with the bad, no? In this case, what the Mafia is to America is the Yakuza to Japan. There are many different Yakuza groups in Japan, and one of the most dangerous holds a man by the name of Kazuma Kiryu. Unfortunately, he had very rough beginnings, as when he was a very young child, he had tragically lost his parents. A trope as old as time. But hey, it's pretty effective, especially here. His parents were killed by Shinatora Kazuma, captain of the Dojima family. Despite having to have killed 2 people, he had actually felt a lot of guilt. To leave a child without a parent and having to be the one responsible to bear that sin, he may be a bad guy, but that doesn't mean he is a bad guy. Kazuma took Kiryu in and became his foster father, and was raised at the Sunflower Orphanage, where he met his best friends Akira and Sawamura, all while living under the wings of the legendary Kazuma, whose parents were also killed by Kazuma? What the fuck? He literally made an orphanage for children whose parents were killed by him? Yeah, that's totally not gonna backfire and that's totally not dark as hell. Although surprisingly, he wasn't all that bad to them. Kazuma treated Kiryu like his own son, and Kiryu, along with Akira and Sawamura, idolized him, admire him as if he truly was their father figure. Kazuma even supported Kiryu through junior high school. As they grew up, Kiryu and Akira's admiration for Kazuma was so strong that they tried to join the Yakuza at 17. Yeah, you heard that right. Before they were even legally allowed to move it, they wanted to join the Yakuza. Wow, at 17 they already had their lives planned ahead and knew what they wanted to do. When I was 17, I watched Cartoon Fight Club. Man, that was the lowest point in my life and I really hope that doesn't get me fired. Although Kazuma wasn't really happy to hear this and attempted to deny it. However, Kiryu's burning passion was impossible for him to ignore, as he cried out that he idolized him and that orphans deserved to dream too. Kazuma eventually gave in after seeing how brave and determined the 2 boys were, and the next day, the 2 became Yakuza. The 2 of them were forced to go through some pretty tough challenges though, and later on, Kiryu would take the rap of Akira's murder for Sohei Dojima, and this was just the beginning of Kiryu's many adventures. Each one going forward would turn him into a hardened man, a deadly fighter with each passing year. During his years growing up, Kiryu has learned the legendary arts of Kung Fu and the Kotami style, which combines traditional martial arts with Jiu-Jitsu and Aikido. Some notable Kotami moves involve the Kotami Parry, the Kotami Knockback, the Kotami Tiger Drop, the Max Kotami Tiger Drop, which is an enhanced version of that third attack. Pretty innovative if I do say so myself, especially in the naming department. Although a lot of Kiryu's Kotami moves involve the power of heat. Some of the Kotami heat moves include Dragon Spirit, the Ultimate Essence, the Essence of Terror, the essence of hurdling. A lot of essence related stuff. Goteme's first reversal, extreme heat mode, Goteme's swordless rebirth, Goteme's shot stopper, and the Dragon God's Ward? Good god, talk about giving your technique some godsling names. All of these attacks allow Kiryu not to only perform some deadly attacks that are strong enough to send people flying from their feet, but the supercharged heat moves can be used to disarm his opponents, some attacks used specifically on people with certain weapons. A good chunk of his combat also comes from the many styles that he has, such as the Brawler style, which is slow yet very powerful, and even flashy. Beast style focuses on using brute strength and utilization of environmental tools and unconventional weapons, so if he wanted to, he can weaponize a motorcycle. He does this by being grounded and forming his hands like claws, pretty much becoming a grappler. So yes, he can literally take off your shoes and beat your ass with it. Rush style, as the name implies, focuses on speedy combat in the same fashion as a boxer, known for his high guard and ability to stun enemies, and of course there is the Dragon of Dojima. This style that Kiryu adopted is a powerful combination of typical street brawling, martial arts that focuses on punching and kicking such as karate and Muay Thai, and pro wrestling, all while posing a very tough fighting stance to boot. It's pretty much the love child of all of his styles combined. Kiryu has used all of these techniques to fight against many different types of foes and armies, and has done many impressive things with this. His sheer strength, as mentioned before, can send full-grown men flying. He can swing around motorcycles with a single arm. He can destroy an overhead door with a few hits. He even stopped a charging bull and wrestled it to its side. You know, the same animals that can easily flip over cars. He destroyed the top half of a statue in a single punch, and he halted a lunging tiger with a single punch. Are we sure he's not the animal here? Although his best feats come from who he fights. For example, he has been able to best Goro Majima, who was able to punch him through a building floor while he was in a weakened state. He can also compare to Taija Saejima, whose punches can obliterate boulders. Now Saejima is roughly 6'2" or 1.9 meters, scaling him to the size of the boulder, which is about 367 by 263 centimeters in size, and considering what he's punching is granite, we can also estimate the volume of the boulder. So that means in order to break the granite boulder into fragments, he would have to be outputting around 0.08 tons of TNT. Which these are not even fully charged punch, these are just his regular punches. This means not only can Kiryu withstand these punches, but he can hurt someone capable of withstanding their own strength. Are we sure these are normal people? What the hell? What's next? Kiryu can be a simulated version of himself and does so successfully that he absorbs the whole experience? Oh, he did. Well, there have been many foes that he has defeated, such as Raiden, who was considered to be too dangerous to fight, Shun Akiyama and Masayoshi Tamimura, also Aman, and his son Joe Aman, who considered Kiryu to be the ultimate life form, and has even fought the legendary Musketeers. And before you ask, no, we're not gonna have him fight Shadow or Mewtwo. It isn't just strength that he has, Kiryu has also shown to be insanely agile. Rush style alone has him moving so fast that he can create after images, move faster than the human eye can perceive. He's capable of dodging bullets mid-movement and at point blank, even going as far as being able to perceive bullets moving at slow motion. He can generate combat-capable clones through sheer speed alone, and can even shoot a rocket from a rocket launcher already in flight heading towards him, and has dodged several rockets along with cannon shots. At the very lowest, a rocket launcher can fire rockets at 294 miles a second and higher than others. But to be able to react to this in the way he did, he would have to exceed at least double the speed. What the fuck? And we haven't even gotten to his abilities yet. To no one's surprise, this man has insane abilities. Aside from his superhuman stats and mastery of weapons in combat, he has this interesting ability where the more damage he takes or the more drunk he gets, the more powerful he becomes. It's pretty much a weird hybrid of Yang's semblance and Sanji's drunken fist style. Kiryu also seems to have a keen sense, as he once noticed his drink has actually been roofied while the pill has already seemed to have dissolved, and he has caught knives falling from above while giving a glance. He can also harm ghosts. You know what? Sure, why not at this point? How about we also give him a lightsaber to add to it? Are you fucking kidding me? Now his most useful ability is his adaptability. He's able to adapt to any fighting style in mere moments, copying them if he so desired, and find a way to tough through it all and exploit weaknesses, or even turn it against his opponents. His mastery in combat not only benefits his abilities, but also makes it nearly impossible to overwhelm him in skill alone. Kiryu, despite everything that we literally just went through, isn't perfect. Wow, who would have thought? Kiryu has a sense of honor that he holds dearly. He would never kill unless it was in self-defense or if it was completely consumed by rage. He faces problems head-on without a second thought, and this pretty much makes him vulnerable to any intellectual exploitation. Not to say Kiryu is dumb, that's far from it, he's really smart, but he's more likely to act on emotion and honor rather than rationality. There's also the fact that he slacked out of training pretty immensely during his first and second prison sentencing, and because of this he got very rusty and he had to retrain himself all over again. And despite that, he was able to retain all the knowledge again and he came out wiser nonetheless. So even though Kiryu is a man with a gentle heart, he is still the Yakuza. And the last thing you want to do is cross him, especially if it involves the one he loves. For Kazuma, Kiryu will style on you until you are nothing but a broken man.
And now, let's get ready for the fight. This battle will take place on Earth, and remember, there is no prep time. Let the battle begin!
Hopefully you enjoyed that animation, and if you did, super special thanks to Team Animation Rewind's at Talking Cake. Thanks, and enjoy the post-analysis.
You know, Rewind has written in the script, "That's how Mafia works," and expects me to read that line unironically. But you know what? No, I don't think I will. Regardless, Kiryu has dominated the Kingpin and has proven himself to be the true crime lord. Both of the mob bosses have very similar feats of strength and durability. They can both tank attacks that would otherwise kill an average man, and are strong enough to battle characters who can level buildings. Although Kiryu does edge them out ever so slightly, but just enough. Comparing their best AP and durability feats, the gap in their power actually has a 13 times gap. And when it comes to speed, Kingpin has fought superhumans before, so in a similar vein, Kiryu falls under there. So while more or less they're equal there, Kiryu's speedy combat can be dangerous for Kingpin, especially if he utilizes pressure points in combat. Kingpin is skilled in his own right since he has taken on the likes of Spider-Man, the Daredevil, and even held his own against Captain America. But not only does Kiryu have him outclassed in skill through versatility alone, but his ability to adapt to Kingpin's style, copy it, and exploit it makes him even harder to deal with. They both have a similar range in what martial arts they know, but Kiryu's various styles makes him many steps above Kingpin in versatility. Kingpin does have the advantage in being able to be a literal tank. His makes him a literal physical sponge, so Kiryu will be struggling to leave a dent in him for a while. All Kingpin has to do is just ragdoll him left and right. But it's because he can't put him down for good is where his defenses can slowly be breached. Kiryu can easily adapt to Kingpin's fighting style, figure out heavy hits will merely be absorbed and find ways to hurt him without having to blindly hit him, or just find a way to deliver a blow he can't withstand. And due to his many styles, he likely can. With Kiryu's many different fighting styles, even with Kingpin's ability to survive hits that no other human can, Kiryu can send Kingpin flying with some of these fighting styles such as the beat style and the brawling style. And then there's the rush style, which makes him pretty much untouchable to Kingpin as he will be dodging left and right. He's gonna be way too fast for him, he's gonna be able to keep a safe distance until he can find an opening to strike Kingpin with a powerful heat attack. And just to add salt to the wound, Kiryu has far more crazy abilities that Kingpin doesn't have. He can sense incoming attacks and perceive time slower if he wanted to. After images that he can create can also throw off Kingpin that can also even attack him. He can amplify himself over time in battle. He can copy his opponent's techniques. If this laundry list of goofy abilities doesn't overwhelm Kingpin, I don't know what can. So while both are very similar in power and speed, albeit with a very small yet noticeable gap, Kiryu is just a better fighter overall. He would be able to lock down a win more often than not with his superior skills and ability, versus Kingpin's slower speed and lack of power. Now by lack of power, I mean the lack of supernatural powers, not power and strength. But with his Yakuza fighting style and powers, Kiryu will be able to become the true crime boss here. I guess this king has been dethroned for good, making the winner of this fight, Kazuma Kiryu.
On the next episode of Rewind Rumble.
I won't lose to you. I've got this!